Election night in Oklahoma with storms on the horizon now. Good evening once again, I'm Dave Morris. Here are the headlines so far. Hofmeister soundly defeating Baressi, Lankford not needing a runoff, and Fallin cruising through the primaries. Nick Tragakis from the Oklahoman joins me now. And Nick, let's start with the state school superintendent race.
Yeah, this is a race where a lot of people expected a Republican runoff perhaps. It's not looking like it's going to shape up that way. The Associated Press is calling that Republican primary for the challenger, Joy Hofmeister. Not only is she defeating the incumbent state superintendent, Jana Baressi, but Baressi is actually in third in that race behind a relatively unheralded candidate, Brian Kelly of Edmond. Hofmeister running about 56% of the vote. Now we're up somewhere over 1,600 of the roughly 1,900 precincts in the state reporting in that race. And
Baressi had spent a lot of money, a lot of her own money. I believe she loaned her campaign around $900,000 was one of our recent reports.
Yeah, she's well over the $1 million mark for her total campaign this time around. Much of it loaned from her own pockets, and it looks like that's probably not going to end up in a victory for her.
There are watch parties out there. We have videographers at both watch parties for Baressi and for Hofmeister. We will have those videos later tonight. Let's move on to Lankford's race.
This was our other big matchup of the night, and the Associated Press is calling this Republican primary for James Lankford. T.W. Shannon was getting about 36% of the vote. Lankford was running about 55%. And again, that's about 1,600 out of about 1,900 precincts. So obviously enough for the AP to feel like this was a safe election to call. Lankford, it looks like now, will advance to the general election without the need of a runoff.
If only I had Lankford's deep, booming voice. I mean, he's got the voice of God. Republican 5th Congressional District.
Yeah, this is one where some of our experts had predicted a possible runoff, and it looks like that's what we're going to get. It's going to be former State Senator Steve Russell and former Corporation Commissioner Patrice Douglas. They're both running at about 25% of the vote right now. There's several other contestants in the race, but none at this hour of the night with enough traction to really challenge those two. So it looks like Russell and Douglas are heading for a runoff in the 5th District. And of course, the runoff is August 26th.
Very good. And finally, the U.S. Senate on the Democrat side.
This is an interesting one. Now, this is going to be who would potentially challenge Lankford for that Senate seat in the general election. We have 3 candidates on the Democratic side. Connie Johnson, a former state senator, and a perennial Oklahoma candidate, Jim Rogers, 79 years old from Midwest City.
Right.
He enters elections every year. And what's notable about Jim Rogers, during the presidential Democratic primary in 2012, he actually won some counties from President Barack Obama. So he has a little bit of street cred, if you will, in certain voting precincts in the state. And now it looks like he's going to force a runoff with Connie Johnson, who was probably picked to be your favorite in that race. But apparently Jim Rogers, hard to beat in the Democratic race.
More bragging rights in the cafes, right? All right, Nick Tragakis will be back at 10 p.m. with another update. You can find some context in tomorrow's editions of the Oklahoman of these races like this. In the Lankford-Shannon race, was Lankford actually helped by negative ads against him? And remember, Coburn stepped in to defend him. Once again, our newsroom is tweeting away, providing updates such as this. Jim from Nolan Clay is reporting from James Lankford's watch party. Nolan tweets, no alcohol at Lankford watch party. Supporters enjoying pineapple lemonade punch, water, and unsweetened tea. Jonathan Sutton is over at T.W. Shannon's watch party, and he tweets the mood is significantly dampened at the Shannon watch party, but the jazz plays on. He had tweeted earlier a pic of the jazz band entertaining those in the audience. And our Andrew Niddle tweets crickets at the Janet Baressi watch party. You can follow along by clicking on our live coverage link at the top of the News OK homepage. We should also tell you that storms are moving south. Heavy rain expected to reach the metro around 10 p.m., so stay weather aware if you're out and about. More election coverage throughout tonight on newsok.com. Complete analysis and context on Wednesday's editions of the Oklahoman. Go to your driveways and your newsstands, and we will be back at 10 p.m.